If anybody's here, do you see a video? Because I don't see it. There we go. It's here. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. All right. Well, while I'm waiting for people to come by, I will start, as I always do, with what happened in sumo today and sort of the good matches, the matches we can expect to see tomorrow, and then possible predictions of what is to come. So, starting off with Juryo, we have Shirokuma versus Shishi. So this was, something for the Yusho. Yusho contention. Who's gonna take this thing? And as I'm watching this, I haven't seen much of Shishi. This is probably the first time I've paid much attention to his specific sumo. I was thinking that he was going to overpower Shirokuma, but that was not the case. Shirokuma overpowers Shishi. Shishi looked quite disappointed. Now Shirokuma is the sole leader. Just in the last couple of days, honestly, Shishi has been falling off. So I wouldn't be too shocked if he falls right out of this thing at the end. And maybe Shirokuma's going to take it all. I noticed that Haku Oho was no longer in the 3-loss category, so I guess that's already fallen away. So, unfortunately, Shishi may have to wait again. Now, that's pretty much all that there is to talk about in Juryo in terms of the Yusho race. As I said last night, it's all the lower rankers who are actually in this thing, so we'll have to see what happens. There could be a monumental collapse. Very possible. Or, Shirokuma becomes the next name that we're talking about. I see some interesting comments. Let's see. Hello, GR Sumo. Good to see you, Mitch. Hello, Bob Gob. And this is the comment I'm like, what are we talking about here? The 4 quadrants of sumo: belt core, push core, pull core, and weird core. You forgot Shodai core. That falls under weird core properly. Monster, I have no idea what we're talking about, but it sounds interesting. And then Shirokuma, chance at promotion, keep winning. Shirokuma, I think, was the only one who had the chance to get promoted out of those guys, but we'll see. So now we're going to... I only highlighted the matches that meant the most, I thought. So we got a little bit less to talk about today. You guys can bring up some other matches if you want. So first is Wakataka Kage versus Chiyoshima. Wakataka Kage takes care of business. He gets his Kachikoshi. He's still got enough time now to make this double digits, make this very interesting. That would be cool. But at the bare minimum, we can say he had a good tournament. If he keeps himself healthy, watch out for him in September. That's kind of the cautious view that I'm having on him, because I do think that he's not really fully where he needs to be to, go for getting back in the Sanyaku or even winning a Yusho. So for now, it's good news, cautiously optimistic, but there's still plenty of days left, so who knows? Then in the Koto Shoho Ichi Yamamoto match, it was quite spirited. John and I were talking about last time how Koto Shoho can be very entertaining when the brawler side of him comes out. And I knew right before he stepped in the ring with Ichi Yamamoto that was going to happen. And I was not disappointed. Those two slapped and slapped and slapped at each other. I mean, those were some hard-sounding hits. But the interesting thing is, Koto Shoho sort of changed strategies at the end and wins with a throw. And I thought to myself, he has a lot of tools. If he could just focus and concentrate on his matches and get out of his own head, he really could be up there with some of the top guys. But he's just way too inconsistent for that at this point. Chirano Umi, 8-3, Kachikoshi. Going to be very interesting to see how far Chirano Umi goes. A little bit of a spoiler, but not spoiler, because we like to go in order, but you guys already know, is that the Yusho race is finally open again. With Terunofuji losing his match, now you can start letting the 8-3s back in. Do I think Chirano Umi is going to be, actually in contention? Of course not, but let's see how far he can go. Let's see what he can do. Very, very interesting. He seems to be getting better and better and better. No sliding back like the Rogas of the world. And then Takanosho versus Shodai. I predicted that this would be one of those weird matches. Takanosho looked really solid, and Shodai lost like Shodai does. Kachikoshi for Takanosho. This is excellent for him. He seems like he's on this sort of slow building back up to where he once was, and hope for the best for him. Okay, so now, this was strange to me. Tobizaru winning with a Yuri Kiri with the belt grip. I don't know what kind of alternate universe we're in where Tobizaru is going to beat Mitakayumi on the belt. I don't know if that's more of a comment on Mitakayumi, or if it was just like such a shock that Tobizaru grabbed the belt and just, he had a strong grip. I mean, you would never know that Tobizaru wasn't a belt fighter if that was the only match you ever saw. It was just so un-Tobizaru, like I was shocked. So this tournament's an interesting one. So now we have Meisei versus Ura. And unfortunately, my prediction last night of Ura making a comeback might not happen. He didn't look too good today. Meisei is not having the best tournament, even though he is fighting as hard as he usually does. For whatever reason, maybe it's Meisei's not strong enough, maybe it's, Meisei's not good enough, I'm not sure. But Meisei's record does not reflect how hard he's been fighting, and today he took it out on Ura. I mean, he blasted him so hard in the Tachi. But Ura, he does what he does. He digs his heels in. He pushes back. He's on the edge. But then Meisei was not having it and just flattens him. And Ura sort of does this like frog hop out of the ring and then lands flat on his face. Not a good sign for the Ura comeback. But that doesn't mean we won't get some good matches with him. He might still do some awesome things that we're still talking about. We're going to be talking about the Terunofuji match forever. And I think, I'm going to make a compilation of all the videos I need to show someone that I'm trying to get into sumo. And that would be one of the matches that I'd say, hey, check it. Take a look at this guy right here. So then Hira no Umi with Atami Fuji. He is just not playing around. He wants to defeat the Sanyaku curse. He wants to show everybody he belongs here. He's been sort of dark horse, but still people have kept an eye on him. And he overpowers Atami Fuji, which is not an easy thing to do. But once again, I question, where is Atami Fuji's head at this point? Does he have enough in him to really strongly win at all costs? I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much because I don't think he's a slacker like, say, a Shodai, but there is a little bit of quit in him that I just notice every once in a while. So now this was probably the first big shock of the night. Kirishima is not giving up. He is going to try everything he can to get Ozeki back. And he knocks Kotozakura off the leaderboard. I'm pretty sure he stunned Kotozakura. He was just sort of coasting along. Things are going right. Everything he does turns to gold. And Kirishima wasn't having it. He pushed him out. He got him off balance and he pushed him out. It was a clean, non-trickster win. He's not playing around. He's going to make this very interesting at the end. He's going to play spoiler because he's got to fight all the top guys and he's got to win all those matches. And if he does that, he is going to have a significant impact on the Yusho race. So this could get real good. All right, so Takakeisho's not giving up either. He went head to head, and there was such a massive crack on the Tachi. I instantly was like, oh, gee, because it's been so long since Takakeisho engaged in the Tachi like that. You see him, he looked like his old self for a moment there. Blood's pouring out of the mouth. He very aggressively went after Gonoyama. And then at the end of the match, you see him blinking and kind of swaying a little bit. And like I said, there was blood coming from the mouth. I I was looking at the match a couple of times to see, A, when did he get bloodied? And B, like, did that crack immediately affect things? Because when he did the Tachi and then they were fighting, I didn't see him look stunned during the fight. This is my guess. It's hard to tell with the slow-mo replay. It looked like Gonoyama hit him a second time in the jaw. And that's the knockout spot. So if he did, in fact, headbutt him in the jaw, that caused the bloody mouth and rocked him. And I think that's what happened. I don't necessarily think it was on the Tachi. So, okay, like I said, we're going to talk about Ozeki level sumo. That's Ozeki level toughness right there. My goodness. It was nice to see Takakeisho back. It was nice to see him give it everything he's got. Of course, he was going to do that with Gonoyama. That's his, youngin'. I can't think of it now. Senpai is what Takakeisho is. Somebody give me the Japanese word for when you're the lower guy. I can't think of it right now. The point is, he was not going to lose to Gonoyama, and he knows Gonoyama's going to come at him tough. So he, out of both pride and respect, gave Gonoyama a true match. It was amazing. I can breathe easy for a day and then get all anxious again tomorrow. But every time he has a great win like that, it just feels like, everything's all right in the world. So then we get to Hoshiryu versus Abi. And now this is very significant. Like I said, the race is wide open. So Hoshiryu continues to entertain me. His sumo is it's a delight. Because there's so much attitude in it. There's so much he can turn the tables at any moment, or he can dominate you. He can do just about any move there is. And he did, in fact, do a very rare technique called the Saka Totari. Now, I've seen Totari plenty of times. I'm not sure what made this Saka Totari. It might be because of the awkward angle and sort of the backwardsness that he had to do. But Abi came at him hard, pushed him to the edge. I think he surprised him. Then he's Nodowa his head all the way back. And Hoshiryu stayed calm as a cucumber, grabs the arm from this awkward position, and just throws him down. And only Hoshiryu could pull that on Abi. Abi's usually the one who does something crazy to people on the edge. Hoshiryu, he just believes in himself. He knew he could win that match, and he just stuck with it. And this is why I absolutely adore him. But I also am very angry with him because it's why did you blow some of these early matches in week 1 that you shouldn't lose? Dude, get it together and you will be a Yokozuna and you will be an exciting Yokozuna. Come on, dude. So, here nor there. Terunofuji versus Onosato. I was very excited for this match because here we finally have someone just as big as Terunofuji going chest to chest with him. This happens to Terunofuji very rarely these days. There was a time when there were a ton of big guys. We had Ichinojo, we had Tochinoshin, we had... Even Hakuho wasn't a big man, but he was a strong man. You weren't going to just toss him around. You knew what was coming at you. Even the Chiyomarus of the world. We've lost, in this changing of the guard, we've lost the big sumo, and we have a lot of little sumos. Which, I love the little sumos, don't get me wrong. But it's a different match for Terunofuji when he has to face somebody who's his size. So, it helps Onosato greatly just by his physicalness, just by his actual height and weight, that he can go chest to chest with Terunofuji. He takes it. Now, Teru probably cheats quite a bit. Keep in mind he's 60% health or less. He probably cheats against the smaller guys, and he's upright, and he's leaning a little, and it doesn't matter because he's so much more powerful than them that he, overwhelms them. Well, Onosato took advantage of Terunofuji being upright, slips to the side, and just takes him down like nothing. And you could tell that Terunofuji looks surprised, because not many guys could do that to him. Now, I hope Koto Zakura was watching that, because that's the kind of thing he needs to do. So Onosato is actually helping Koto Zakura too by showing him, hey, you haven't tried everything yet. And, I think, Onosato showed a little bit of excitement there. It was pretty cool. And I think, I really do think that he has the confidence. It just maybe he falls off a little bit, but I think he has the confidence to beat the big guys. I still think there's a lot of potential in this man, even though this tournament is not his best tournament for sure. Okay, I do see all of your guys' awesome comments. I can't wait to get to them, but we're going to just quickly go through the race, the matches for tomorrow, and then I will get to your comments. Okay, so the race is now competitive again. Had Teruno Fuji won and he had a 3-win cushion, I would think it was over. Now it's back to he's only got 2 losses ahead, and he has to fight some of the guys in this list still. So 8-3 is Kotozakura, Hoshoryu, Takanosho, Chunana Umi, and Wakatake Kage. Very fascinating that Hoshoryu is always in the mix. It's always like day 9 or 10, and he's had a couple of stupid losses, and I write him off. I'm like, yeah, this is over for him, especially when you see somebody who's close to Zensho. I mean, we talk about this all the time, though. When you get to 10-0, things seem to go wrong on day 11. But I didn't expect it for Teruno Fuji because only Onosato and Kotozakura could have done that to him, in my opinion. Maybe Hoshoryu, but only those guys can go chest to chest with him. So that would typically not happen to him, but he ran into the worst opponent for day 11. So here we go again, where Hoshoryu is in the mix. And this is great in one sense, but if Teruno Fuji just tightens up tomorrow and just beats everybody else and he just let that one thing slip by, Hoshoryu is going to be kicking himself. Kotozakura kicking himself for losing matches they should not lose. As far as the last 3 men on that list, they're all got to be thrilled. Takanosho, Churana Umi, Wakatake Kage, it's a little like, he was Sanyaku, he was going on an Ozeki run, he was a top guy. So I don't know if in his head he's still a top guy or if he is bogged down by his physical limitations. So who knows? He might be feeling disappointed or he might be feeling great. He's the one sort of wild card factor. So here's the notable matches for tomorrow. We have Takanosho versus Ura. The thing about that match is, Takanosho's in tournament, in Yusho contention, Ura is just fascinating. And if he loses, he gets Makikoshi. We have a Darwin match again. Whenever Kirishima's on the mat, it's going to be a rough one. Kirishima needs to win tomorrow. He's got a Tami Fuji who will go Makikoshi if he loses. So Darwin match tomorrow for them. And then the match that everybody's going to be so hype. Like, this is a match you want to see on day 14, day 15, but this is always how it works. Kotozakura versus Hoshoryu. Can't wait for that match. Hoshoryu's on a high. Kotozakura, tiny setback. I mean, Kirishima's no pushover, but I don't think he expected to lose that match. So it's going to be a question of, will Hoshoryu show his anger and be like, no, I'm taking this? Or will Kotozakura just kind of get himself calm again and do what he does? The problem is Hoshoryu is the one guy that you can't just easily throw out. He's always got a plan. He's probably been planning for a while what kinds of things he's going to do to Kotozakura. Going to be a great match. I'm not going to even predict anybody. And then this one is a painful one. Onosato versus Takakeisho. So Onosato not having his best tournament, but Onosato is a beast. He's a huge mountain of a man. These types of guys are very difficult for Keisho to fight because if he goes head to head with them and he crashes into their massive chest, this is how the neck injury would get bad every time he fought Ichinojo because Ichinojo just towered over him. And so he wouldn't actually crash into him in a safe spot. He'd crash into his chest and wrench his neck. Onosato's sort of in that position where here's another huge guy. He's very talented. He's got a potential to be Ozeki very, maybe in a year, maybe less than a year. And he's now got some confidence. He just beat the Yokozuna. So Takakeisho is going to have to pull out some crazy stuff. I fully expect him to pull out crazy stuff because he's crazy. I literally think Takakeisho is an insane man. And I say that with love in my heart. The way that he will fight with no regard for his body when his back is against the wall is why he is like in shambles. But it's also the reason why he keeps going, because he refuses to lose. So I expect Takakeisho to leave it all out on the line tomorrow. There could be some serious physical damage to Takakeisho. I need to knock on some wood. I don't want to see the big wheelchair. But I think he's going to put it all out there. So unless something weird happens, like somebody slips or somebody hankas, I really hope for neither of those. That's going to be a crazy match. And then finally, Terunofuji versus Abi. This is a fascinating match because Terunofuji, John and I were talking about this. Terunofuji's in this slightly precarious situation. He's still 2 wins against everybody else. He's still dominating. Abi's not having a good tournament. Abi is clearly injured. Darn it, Mitch. I just read your comment and I'm not thrilled. Abi is not having a good tournament. He's clearly injured. But Terunofuji's in this spot where he needs to just like bring it all back in, be calm, win his matches, don't think about the future, just win that day. And Abi's a trickster. And he hasn't been doing a whole lot of like hankas or weird stuff, but like it's hard to get him out. He can do these ballerina moves and he does them on like, these are very intentional things. These aren't accidental placing his foot where he places it. He knows how to stay in the ring on like his big toe. And so if you get desperate in any way, he's going to beat you. So Terunofuji is probably fine. He's probably going to soundly defeat Abi and we move on and he wins the whole tournament. However, Abi is the one opponent that you do not want to have when you're teetering, when you just had a bad loss or a surprise loss. Abi is the last guy you want to see. There's a list of other people you probably don't want to see either, but so tomorrow could be interesting. Tomorrow either solidifies everything that we think, like Terunofuji's taken this, Dai Yokozuna, 10 Yushos, it's a done deal, or everything can go crazy. And we could wind up with some insane result at the end. So right now, while we're talking, it's very exciting. We're on the precipice of something cool. By tomorrow night, we'll know if it's just standard business or insanity. So now I must go back to all the comments. Okay. Most important Juryo development. Toho Hakudu gets his second win with a mighty Hanka. I must see this mighty Hanka. I mean, for you to say it's mighty, it's got to be pretty epic. But Shodai deserves his own department for whatever the hell he actually does. Shodai, come on. Sumo is not as entertaining without our friend Shodai. I love to watch the weirdness that is Shodai. I'm fascinated by it. And then, let's see, the 4 categories of weirdness. Hob Bob Gob, Chiyoshima lost his magic, demotion probable. Yeah, I mean, he didn't start the tournament, so he obviously had an injury. And then he's joining in at the slippery basho. He's one of the few people who slipped. Probably just, it's not his time. Unfortunately, that's something we might be saying about others, too. But all things work best in 5s, kind of like the number of junior Sanyaku ranked wrestlers. I don't know what that's referring to. This is what happens when I get behind in the comments. I mean, Chiyoshima was Kyujo for almost half the basho. Exactly. You know, very few people can do something with that. Takeyasu can because he's insane too. Asanoyama can because he's actually a very skilled guy. He's just punished his body too much. It's not that open. Oho disappointing last bout. At this rate, we won't see a Hoshoryu rematch. Yeah, I don't know what Oho's problem is. I really don't know what his problem is. It's like he should be better than he is, but John and I have given up on Oho. We're waiting for him to surprise us and prove us wrong and make us look stupid, but it's just like, Oho, I don't have the energy for you right now. No disappointment here. Oho did exactly what I wanted him to. Of course, Kiri Bayama would show up on the one day where the Yusho race would get exciting. A normal Yorikiri feels so weird when Tobizaru does it. Right? Was that not the weirdest Yorikiri you've ever seen in your life? It's like this. Wait, who's in the ring? I had to like go back again. I'm like, that's Tobizaru, right? That's weird. What in the world is going on? So today was Meisei's birthday. Meisei birthday win, the one day I will reign in my hate. Let's be honest here. Did Onosato win that match, or did Terunofuji just lose that match? That's an interesting question, right? Because obviously Terunofuji slipped up. He was way too upright. And because he was upright, and he sort of, I don't know if he underestimated Onosato, he was easily pushed off balance. It was weird. So in essence, I guess you could say Terunofuji did lose the match, but Onosato took advantage of it. You've got two factors here, right? There is the Yokozuna aura. Onosato's this new, young, up-and-comer, and he's facing the Yokozuna, who's going Zensho right now. He took advantage. He didn't let the nerves get into him. His eyes were wide open for openings and advantages, and he took advantage. So you might want to give credit to both, because, there's times where the Yokozuna, I told you, I think he's cheating all the time. Too upright, because his knees are all busted, his back's busted. There's no way he's crouching way down in every match. He's probably been cheating for a while, and he gets away with it. And Onosato just made sure to show him, like, you can't do that with me. So you gotta give Onosato credit for that. I have such a hard time. Hira do Umi looking so good. Yes, he is. Very excited for the future for Hira Umi. Keisho is the man. That's right, Eddie. Keisho is the man. Stuff like what he did today just reminds me. I forget every once in a while, like, what he can be like. It's like, just, he's brutal, sacrifices his body, blood everywhere, walks off like, yeah, I took care of business. He's just such a tough guy. I said this yesterday, but I am happy that Kirishima and Takakeisho are putting in a good fight, even if it's still probably over for them as Ozeki. Yeah, I do think that it is highly unlikely that either of these guys keep Ozeki. Kirishima gets back to Ozeki, or Takakeisho keeping Ozeki. But we've seen so many people in the last couple years give up when times are tough. It is a joy to watch that absolute desperation, that put everything into the fight. I'm not going down. Like, that's what sumo is all about. And I'm very happy to see that coming from Kirishima. I expect nothing less from Takakeisho, but I was worried that his condition was just too shaky. Today he showed me he's got something in the tank. Maybe he's been holding it back in case he didn't get the easier wins. So we'll have to see. I think tomorrow's match is going to be insane. Kohai. Okay, Senpai Kohai. Thank you. Thank you, Monster. Suleiman, how about that Kiri Kayeshi by Endo? I was going to write that down. I meant to write it down. This is what I'm saying about Endo. He's sort of at the twilight of his career because unfortunately he's all beat up as well. But the man has moves. He's got a bag of tricks that's just as big as Hoshoryu's. If he wasn't hurt, he would be probably the perfect sumo wrestler. But he could never stay in good condition, so it's unfortunate. But you get to see cool moves from him every once in a while. Like when he sees the opening, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. So it was pretty sweet. I will play devil's advocate for Hoshoryu and say that winning this basho doesn't have as much stakes for him because it's the last time using the slippery arena. Sure, but you always, as Ozeki, you always gotta wanna win. And then even if it's not your favorite tournament or it's a tournament that's hard for you, you might luck into winning just because you're putting in all the focus. With Hoshoryu, some of the losses, John and I will talk about them specifically in the recap. That's why I don't want to talk about them now, because there's less to talk about in the recap. But some of his losses are so like unfocused, or he's looking past his opponent like, I should have this. I don't know. I don't know if it's a cockiness or if it's a short-sightedness. But if you really want to be Yokozuna, if you really want to win Yushos, you have to treat everybody like they're Terunofuji. And I don't know why it doesn't happen for Hoshoryu, because he's an intense fighter guy. He doesn't seem like the type to do the things that he does. I would love if he sat down and gave a real interview. But, you don't get that with sumo wrestlers. They don't really tell you what's on their mind. But I'd love to know why he loses the matches he loses. Speaking of big guys, new guy Kazuma in Makushita, over 190 kilograms, had an Asanoyama-like collapse at the towers a couple of days ago. Hope he's okay. He was looking so good. Oh, that's so sad. Injuries make me sad. It would have been so good for my Kachi Clash if Onosato lost. I have to go check my Kachi Clash. I can't even remember who I picked anymore, besides I picked Oshoma, which was a bad call. Hoshoryu, not a bad call, but not Terunofuji. We'll see by the end if it actually works to my advantage. Who else did I pick? I picked Wakataka Kage, so keep winning, Wakataka Kage. Keep winning. I really think that Hoshoryu's rise to Yokozuna will be very similar to Haramo Fuji's. Win a basho here and there, do next to nothing for a while, and then out of nowhere go back to back to do it. Yeah, there's very few Yokozunas anymore, at least. It was a little bit different with some of the older guys, but there's very few Yokozunas these days who just dominate, and just get straight there. All you got to do is be good enough to beat everybody else, which that's not an easy thing, don't get me wrong. But we're living in a time where Hoshoryu is in the best position to be that guy. So all he has to do is win 2 Yusho. Hard, yes, but not impossible like it would be if he was fighting in Hakuho's era. If he was fighting the era of 4 Yokozuna. If he was competing with 4 Yokozuna and 4 Ozeki that were all in great shape. He's in the best position ever, that if he just, takes every match the same way, or whatever his problem is, he could actually do this. Tawada, not Towers. I knew what you meant, Hababga, but I just didn't correct you. I'm disappointed. I wanted Terunofuji to Zensho. I did too. I mean, this tournament's a real mixed bag for me. On one hand, it's like, it is exciting. There's a lot of things going on. But on the other hand, like, watching Takakeisho and Kirishima is like really, and Asanoyama, those 3 guys, it's like hurting me. Asanoyama crushed my spirit, I have to tell you. To just watch a guy who's tried so hard again and again and again to go out like that hurt me in ways I cannot explain. And then I'm watching Takakeisho just fall apart. And I'm watching Kirishima, like, just not have it. And I'm like, ugh, there's too many guys' dreams being crushed in one tournament for me. I mean, somebody's going to have a bad tournament, but there's just too many. And you have Takayasu couldn't even make it. And I'm just feeling like this sort of an Onosato not having his best tournament. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about this tournament. It's starting to really pick up now. There's a lot of good things happening. But I was rooting for that Zensho Yusho, so at least I could say at the end, Terunofuji came in, Zensho Yusho, gets his 10th Yusho. This is amazing. And now it's like, eh. But if him not getting the Zensho means a couple of the other guys get to keep their dream, then I'm okay with it. Terunofuji wins 13-2, losing to Tsurano Umi. That would be something, huh? Chalking Wakataka Kage's losses to some top division jitters he hasn't felt in over a year. Yeah, there's way too much working against him to even think too much about the results for this. All that matters is he got just Kachi. He looks very solid now. Not necessarily concerned about injuries, so knock on wood. Don't hurt yourself like Asanoyama did. and just survive and go up in the rank and just do awesome in September. Seems like Kirishima should be favored there at least. I'm assuming that's in the match against Atami Fuji. He should win that match. That should be a layup. If he doesn't win that match, he doesn't deserve to come back to Ozeki. And not because Atami Fuji stinks or anything, but he's 4-7. Now, when he's going up against the Yokozuna and the Ozekis and stuff, then it's a toss-up. But this one, he has to win. If you're going to be Ozeki, you have to beat Atami Fuji. Period. Keisho should Henka again. It's funny because at this point, it's like, just throw your hands up in the air. So many people are still focused about the last Henka that he did that it's like, Henka all you want now. Who cares? Whatever. People already think that your legacy is destroyed. Whatever you got to do to get your wins. It's been beaten out of me. Both the validity of Henka and Ozeki level and all that stuff. It's like, Keisho, you do you. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Abel, spoilers in the title, frowny face. I wait for NHK highlights. Love your channel, by the way. I'm very sorry, Abel. I don't speak at all about sumo until 9 o'clock at night because I don't want to do spoilers. So my apologies. I didn't think there was somebody who still hadn't watched. I'll be a little bit more careful about that in the future, but know that I did go pretty much all day without even putting anything in the community, this wasn't up until like a minute before I went on, so I apologize, but definitely thought that everybody had already seen it. Unfortunately for you, you're going to have to make a prediction on the Kotozakura Hoshoryu match. It's the ISP bout of the day. Let me tell you something about that, Mitch. I'm getting fired up now. I am making a crazy comeback right now. I was 0-3, and now I've won the last 0-3-1, and now I've won the last 7 or 8 in a row. So this match is going to kick my butt. I really want to just have an amazing end to this ISP, but that match is going to screw me up. But just so you all know, I'm picking Hoshoryu then. If I have to pick, I'm picking Hoshoryu because he's my guy. And you don't pick against your guy. You just take the loss if you're wrong. I never vote against Takakeisho. Even though I know Takakeisho might not win that match. I'm like, nope, it's not worth it. Picking Takakeisho. Thank God he's not on the ISP every day. Abi is 6-5. Sad thing is that I don't even care about the Yusho race right now. I'm more concerned about the ISP Yusho race at this moment. That's the problem with fantasy sports. It ruins the real thing sometimes. I used to do fantasy baseball, and then I found that I was rooting against my own players. And I'm like, this is not good. I can't enjoy baseball anymore if I'm rooting against the people I actually want to win in real life. So I quit. And then I quit watching baseball. So that was strange. Anyway, the longest with no Yokozuna in recentish history, 2 years in 1930s and 1 year in the 1990s. If we lose the Yokozuna, I could see it being way longer than 2 years. Potentially. I mean, Onosato's got a shot. But he's still not there. He really isn't. Hoshoryu's not there. Kotozakura's not there. So I could see us going more than 2 years, and that would be quite sad. I have reached the point where I kind of want to see a time with no Yokozuna. It would be something new for me. Hey, this is the era of new. Because everything is crazy. Everything is like the first time you've ever seen it. No Yokozuna would be an interesting time if for no other reason than to see how long it would last and what kind of shenanigans it would take to loosely promote someone. Yeah, you might see some shenanigans. They might get a little upset if it takes too long. Same monster, and hopefully like last time, a no Yokozuna period would be followed by Akebono, Takanohana, Wakanohana, Musashi Maru period. I hope so. I mean, I started watching sumo in 2017. And, obviously I was fortunate enough to see Hakuho, but he was at the end of his career. So, he'd show up for 1 or 2 Yusho and then he'd be gone for 6 months. And this went on for several years. I want to live in a time with a dominant Yokozuna. I haven't seen it yet. And in all other periods of time, because you have this little short period of 2 years in the 30s and 1 year in the 90s. And all these other periods of time, you had dominant Yokozunas. Maybe not as dominant as Hakuho, but what would it be like? You know, we have a little bit of a glimpse with Terunofuji, but we knew that there was a timer on him because of his injuries. So, I mean, I'm fine with it taking forever if we get some good, like, real Yokozuna in there. I have an interesting conversation piece. Is anyone else worried about the possibility that Onosato becomes the modern-day Miyabiyama career-wise? Please remind me who Miyabiyama is. Kirishima and Takakeisho may not have reached Yokozuna, but they well earned the rank of Ozeki. If the Kosho system was still around, maybe things would be different. It's such a tough thing. It really is a tough thing because, you know, people abused the whole injury system on one hand. But on the other hand, there are wrestlers that could have really used it, and then maybe we'd have Yokozuna. I think if Takakeisho had ever been able to recover properly, he would have been a Yokozuna. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, he's one-dimensional. I don't think you've been watching sumo that long if you really think that. In the period of time where Takakeisho rose to Ozeki, he was one fierce fighter. You were nervous if your favorite guy was going to go up against him. You were nervous that you weren't going to get the Yusho because of him. He was awesome. And that match, the whole like day 15 match with Terunofuji, and then it goes into a playoff, that was some of the best sumo I've seen in recent time. It was compelling. It was interesting. It was power. Both guys got their opportunity to show off the best of their abilities. It was beautiful. It was amazing. Takakeisho cried. So for all those people who are like, oh, Takakeisho is so stern looking, Takakeisho cried after that win. You haven't been watching sumo long enough if you think Takakeisho is boring and one-dimensional. But see, now I went off on a tangent again. Don't put that out into the world, Mitch. I'm thinking you're talking about Miyabiyama, which I can't remember the story. Is that the Yokozuna who got promoted improperly and he really, really stunk? Is that who we're talking about? Hoshuri's been thinking about how he's going to beat Koto Sakura since he lost to him in May. Hoshuri's got to be stewing about that Koto Sakura loss since May. Yeah. Knowing Hoshoryu, he's been like watching videos obsessively and trying different moves and beating Meisei up, and you know, he's been waiting for this moment. This is yet another reason I love Hoshoryu. He's not the guy who's like dreading a match. He's the guy who's like, yeah, bring that guy on. I want to prove myself. What more could you want in a fighter? Mitch says, I think I forgot to enter Kachi Clash this time. This was my first time doing Kachi Clash. Thought I'd give it a whirl since I'm always being told I need to do it. And I'm doing okay. I mean, I think I'm ranked 300th or whatever, but I'm only 2 points off the top guys. So that just means there's a lot of people in there, and at least I'm not like 7,000 or whatever. I'm like middle of the pack. As a die-hard ride-or-die Hoshoryu fan, I always get devastated when my guy loses bad matches, and especially when he loses to Koto Sakura. You're going to be like sweating tomorrow. You're going to be like, come on, like this, you got to show him. This could like make your whole month if Hoshoryu wins tomorrow. So, does anyone else want to comment on the Miyabiyama thing? I feel like the comparison has the potential to be there. Bro, I don't know. I wasn't watching in the 80s or in the early 2000s. Yeah, I think you might just be more informed than us, Mitch. Kirishima already faced all the Yokozuna and Ozeki. Did he? Oh, well, then he might be okay. Let's see if we can look at... Sometimes they'll show you... Let's see. Probably not going to show us, but I'll look anyway. If my computer wants to load. Hello? Hello? Okay, yeah, they don't have the matches up. Well, color me surprised. If that's the case, he might really have a shot at this. And boy, would that be disappointing to see. Not disappointing like, oh, you know, we can't have good for one guy if another guy's bad. But It'll be like that whole Tochinoshin thing where Takakeisho took his Ozeki spot by beating him on day 15. You could potentially have Kirishima going back to Ozeki while Takakeisho falls out. If Onosato is the next Miyabiyama, I hope he becomes a coach, opens a stable, and starts a YouTube channel focused on cooking. He should call it Sumo Food or something. I don't know. That would be kind of funny. That's how I'm going to feel when I have to pick Onosato and Kachi Clash next time. So do we have a lot of non-likers of Onosato? I'm getting that vibe that like none of you like him. Am I the only one who's like, yeah, Onosato? Well, Hoshoryu pulls stuff out of nowhere. I didn't think Hoshoryu was going to get Ozeki till 2024, but all of a sudden he takes the July Yusho. I think he could just surprise us and stop losing bouts. He absolutely could. That's the thing. It's all him. He could just wake up one day and say, I'm not going to lose anymore, and I think he could do it. He's definitely strong enough and talented enough to beat anybody on the roster. He just doesn't beat them every time. And to be Yokozuna, you have to beat every guy all the time. At least, to get Yokozuna. Then after that, you could take 6 months off and everyone will just let you do it. Too one-dimensional is a very unusual criticism for sumo wrestling. Tell me about it. I agree 100%. First of all, we're talking about a Japanese sport. Japan is the country known for perfecting specific techniques in a way that no one else can in every aspect of society. Like when they're farming, they're good at this one particular type of tilling that creates this one particular vegetable, and it tastes the best you will ever taste it only in Japan because of how much time and effort they put into making sure this one process is exactly the same every single time. Same with things like sharpening knives. I've watched many Japanese specials on different types of aspects of society. The knife sharpener, the sushi maker. They all excel in picking this one thing and being the best at this one thing. And sumo, there are different types of sumo wrestlers, and pusher thrusters are a type of sumo wrestler. Yes, most of the fighting is slapping, but there's also parrying and pulling and slap downs and the bulldog thing that Takakeisho does. There's a lot more to it. And, I was talking to somebody and they're like, I prefer and think sumo looks more like sumo with the guys who blast you out versus the guys who take forever leaning on you and tossing you down. So it's a very strange criticism. I agree. But I'm not in people's heads, so I can't know why they think that. No, that was Futahaguro. Oh, yes. Futahaguro is the one who shouldn't have been promoted, but he got in through the loophole with the stuff, and he was terrible. To put the Miyabiyama thing into context, he entered as a Makushita 60, absolutely bum rushed to the top, and was promoted Ozeki in his 13th basho from debut, then only lasted Ozeki for 8 basho. Oh. You don't want to put that on poor Onosato, do you? Do you guys really dislike him that much? Miyabiyama and Futagaoyama Oyakata, kind of a flash in the pan Ozeki early in his career, lost it, never regained Ozeki despite 10-14-10 wins at Sekiwaki. That's kind of sad. Coach of Roga and Namatame. Well, that could explain some things about poor Roga. Oof, Nabitame, my boy. Everybody likes Nabitame. I'm not even worried about my Kachi Clash accidental Kyujo. I'm currently in the Yusho race for ISP, and I want to win this one. Congrats, Mitch. I'm not in Yusho contention, but I am climbing. I am doing well. I just lost where I was. It's fun to dislike Onosato because he's so set up to be the next guy. He has no underdog energy. I'm typically like that too, and I was certainly that way with Asanoyama. I had this sort of dislike for Asanoyama because, and this is a history that, if you're not a huge Takakeisho fan, you wouldn't know. Takakeisho comes in, he's like hotshot, 21-year-old, makes Ozeki, was coached by Takanohana, but immediately, because of the scandal, that all gets tossed aside. And here comes Asanoyama. That was a little while after that. But here comes Asanoyama, and they just tossed Takakeisho to the curb. They wanted nothing to do with him. Whatever the reasons are, he's too short, he's not strong enough, he's injury prone. We're done with this guy. Now, Asanoyama, he's the man, and everybody said it. Everybody loved him. The commentators were predicting him to be the next Yokozuna. Hakuho, you know this, said Asanoyama's the best one, the most likely to become the next Yokozuna, while Takakeisho was on a Yokozuna run. If that's not disrespect, I don't know what is. The guy has taken a lot of disrespect in public, in a sport where they typically don't disrespect you that way. So he's got nothing but crap. And I had to put some of it on Asanoyama because how dare this guy come up out of nowhere and just take the spotlight away from Takakeisho and make everything worse. Now, in hindsight, it's like, well, they absolutely decimated him on the COVID thing. And, you know, they disposed of him just like everybody else that they decide suddenly, you know, has ruined everything. And now look at him. He can't even get back to Ozeki. So now I feel kind of bad that I ever had a problem with him. So I take it all back, Asanoyama. My heart is with you. My Kachi Clash has a set in it. I can't read that comment. First of all, my eyesight's going again. But second of all, I think we have a couple of words that aren't right. I'm very, very indifferent on Onosato. If he wins, great. If he becomes the next Miyabiyama, meh, don't really care. Oh, that's sad. I like Onosato. Also, in the same vein of Japanese art of perfecting one thing, the tea ceremony. I wrote a paper on it in college. Exactly. The tea ceremony. Even the Yokozuna ceremony. The way of geisha. It's taking one art and doing it over and over and over again until you perfect it. Takakeisho was done exactly what you're expected to do as a Japanese sumo wrestler. Period. And I don't mean specifically like, oh, non-Japanese can't do it. My point is, like, he got the manual and he did exactly what he was told to do. And still, it's not good enough. Very frustrating. I can't imagine what goes through his mind when he hears all the crap and he sees all the stuff and all the criticisms and everybody else gets a pass. It's got to be maddening. And like I just told you that story with Asanoyama, that was several years ago. He's been getting nothing but punishment and insults way before the Henka. The Henka just sort of put a nail in the coffin, but I mean, I will never forget Hakuho doing that, saying the next Yokozuna will be Asanoyama, and Asanoyama was actually not even back into the top division yet, and Takakeisho was on a Yokozuna run. That's ultimate disrespect. So anyway, I got to get off that because that really annoyed me. I've been wanting to see Hoshoryu versus Terunofuji since he pulled out in January and gave Terunofuji a Fusen. Yeah, I'm hyped for that match. I'm so freaking hyped. Hoshoryu excites me in a way that Takakeisho used to excite me when he first came up. Because like I said, Takakeisho was so powerful and he could beat anyone. And it was like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? Hoshoryu was even more exciting than that because of all of his, all the different moves he can pull. And, he's just, he's fantastic. Roga is really pushing for that 7-8 record this time. He really wants to become the permanent Maegashira 15 West. Please do it because that would just be amazing. I feel like Roga probably loses to Onokatsu, so he'll be at a dangerous 5-7. Yeah, well, Roga, he could bounce back. He wants his 7-8. Onokatsu, I think, could have a hot debut next Basho. He's definitely one to watch, and he only needs one more win to break into the division. I've been hearing this about him. I'm looking forward to it. We really just got to keep pumping in the new blood, keep making things interesting. I like Onosato because his body in sumo is a sight to behold. Yeah, like I said, we lost all the big guys in the last few years. It's really nice to see a big guy back in sumo. It's exciting. And Onosato Koto Zakura matches are going to be matches you're going to want to see. And there's nobody else who can match up to either of them. There's no real big, talented guys that I'm seeing right now. All the talent's in the little guys right now. I guess Hakuho really struck out on that pick. I'm glad I'm not the only one that makes crap takes. Yeah, here's the thing about Hakuho, right? Fantastic wrestler. Very good sumo insight. There's things that he sees and does that no one else can. But his judgment on people just, it's not right most of the time. That's all I can say. I mean, you've seen plenty of proof of that over the last few years. He has a hard time actually predicting. Maybe it's no fault of his own, honestly, but he has a hard time predicting the real talents that are coming up. And he almost had it with Hakuho, but that injury proneness, but Hokuseiho, come on, that was a bad pick. But he's never respected Takakeisho. I definitely, you saw it in his matches. Those two fought a lot. And Takakeisho was the new hotshot. Hakuho, the big-time Yokozuna. And he would mess with Takakeisho in every single match. Go back and watch. You can find some of the matches in YouTube. He would literally abuse, humiliate, and taunt Takakeisho in every single match they ever fought. And then when Takakeisho finally went on the Yokozuna run, Hakuho went to the interstable practice and beat the ever-living snot out of him. I have not seen a beatdown that bad ever. Ever. He beat him so bad, and he beat him in front of everybody. Takakeisho shows up in January, and he's toast. And that was it for him. So Hakuho, I don't want to say he doesn't like Takakeisho, but he looks down on him like, how did you get here? Which only fuels my desire for Takakeisho to do good. All of this naysaying really fuels my desires. I think people don't realize that part of it. What records will Onokatsu break if he wins a Yusho in his Makauchi debut? Didn't Takeru Fuji just do that? So I don't know what would records would be available. If you can't see something, go cross-eyed. If you see it twice, you'll have a better chance of seeing it right. What? Hey, Spanky, it's been a while. Big yuck to Onosato. Still hoping for Hoshiryu to pull it out. I'm shocked by the number of people who don't like Onosato. Wow. I bet Onosato gets a good spot in the next unpopularity poll, I'm telling you. Yeah, well, the popularity poll is a Western poll, right? It'd be very interesting to compare the popularity poll in the West and the popularity poll in Japan. I have a strong suspicion he's very popular in Japan. He's got a lot going for him that would make him popular, but he did have the minor scandal, and it was connected to Hakuho, so that could have taken him down a couple notches. That's very possible. But prior to that, I feel like he was probably fairly popular. If there's one thing I've learned about Hakuho post-retirement, he makes lousy predictions. Yeah. It's the truth. Sometimes you can be the greatest at something, and that doesn't translate to your evaluation of it in others. And I feel that way about Hakuho. He's been wrong too many times for me to feel like his gut. I think he's great at helping you. He's great at the fundamentals of sumo, and he's great at knowing how you need to do things to be a sumo wrestler. But he's missing the aspect of how to connect with the person. That's what it feels like to me. The fact that he would just basically spit on Takakeisho because he doesn't have what he thinks he should have and ignore all the heart and the effort tells me that he's probably passed up on some other guys that maybe had potential, that if he had picked up and brought in a stable who had potential that he just blew right off in favor of Hokuseiho, who had a terrible personality. So for all the height and advantages he had sumo wrestling wise, he was a terrible pick. An absolute terrible pick. Who did you pass up for that jerk, I bet Onosato gets a good spot in the next. Oh, we just read that one. Do we count a Banzuke Gai Basho as an actual Basho? If not, Onokatsu would beat Onosato's fastest Yusho record by 1. Interesting. We're already on to the next Basho predictions, huh? I'm on the Onosato dislike train. The drinking scandal was very frat boy-like, and so now that's all I can see when I look at him, and I hate frat boys. Yeah, you gotta be careful with those scandals. They will definitely mess you up. Hot Bob Gob anime talk. Time to stall. Oh boy, don't get me started on anime. I'm on an anime roll right now. I got so many animes rolling. It's just out of nowhere. I had no time, and then I made time. And then I got excited again to watch anime because it had been a while. So we can get to that. I'll read to these comments. But I'll eventually get over it as he matures. It's so obvious how exceptional he is. Yeah, to some degree, you got to give some grace if the person does not repeat the behavior. They are very young, and they are succumbing to peer pressure. Drinking in Japan, especially like, if a senior guy is showing you, yeah, this is what you can do. It's easy to get talked into doing something stupid when you're young. And you're living in, they are living like frat boys. He will probably learn a lot from it. So he might mature and become very good. Takakeisho deserves a final cup to carve a space in everyone's heart and also to make sure everyone remembers why he is Ozeki. Just please don't come back and try a Yokozuna run and get the surgery. I don't know. But in my heart, I'm pretty sure he's given up on the Yokozuna run. I think he's just trying to stay Ozeki. There's probably some financial incentive in there. There's the fact that, you don't want to be anything less than Ozeki. So I think he wants to be Ozeki and win Yushos. And then he is the only one who knows how likely, he probably has been given a prognosis of how long he can do sumo. I am sure a doctor has actually told him. I'm sure doctors have actually told him he should retire. I guarantee that conversation has happened. And Takakeisho has decided not to do it. So I think if he's just trying to eke out as much as he can, money-wise, status-wise. He's got a family now. That's really super important. Probably cares to show his son, his son's still pretty young, so wants to fight so his son can watch him, There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to leave at 28 years old. But I don't think he'll go on try another Yokozuna run, and he needs the surgery. This neck is just going to get worse and worse and worse without the surgery. When do we get the Takakeisho versus Kotozakura match? Do we get the return of Dr. Bitch Slap from Takakeisho? Probably. I'm not sure what day that's going to happen. But yeah, Takakeisho's going to be... He's going to be firing everything he's got. If Takakeisho loses Ozeki, I will cry in the dark while looking at Takakeisho's smiling wedding photos. Yeah, me too. Definitely going to happen just like that. I'll be playing some music in the background and just weeping openly. They need to make a cartoon Hoshoryu. Yes, they do. And they need to do it now. Bob will cover the anime talk. I can handle the video games. I'm also playing video games right now, which I haven't done in a while. Actually, one specific game. We've had a bunch of shrimp bowling incidents this time around. Yes. It's always a good time to go bowling. Which animes have you been watching? Recent stuff or classics? Both. I'm an old-time anime fan, and I love to rewatch. So I just rewatched all of Yu Yu Hakusho, which was fascinating because I had watched the Dark Tournament apparently more times than I realized. So I remembered most things. When I got to the Sensui arc, I'm like, I don't remember any of this. And I know I finished this show. And I remember nothing. It was like watching a brand new anime. And then when I finally finished it and it ended, I was really sad. I'm like, oh man, I just went on this journey. And now it's over again. And I'm going to have to wait 6 years to watch this anime again and hopefully forget a bunch of stuff. I have been rewatching Rurouni Kenshin, the original, because the remake is unnecessary. It may look nice, which is great. It may follow the story, and even the dialogue is pretty similar, but it doesn't have the music. And I'm going to say right now, the heart and soul, there's two heart and souls of anime besides the look, of course. The voice acting and the music. And one of the things they're doing in anime that drives me crazy is that they remake all these old animes to make the animation better and to tighten the dialogue and get rid of the filler, blah, blah, blah. And then they put in some generic soundtrack when the original anime had like interesting tracks, exciting tracks, emotional tracks, and they just, I'll give you an example. This is probably an extremely controversial take for anime fans. I do not think Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is better than the original. Not at all. I don't like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It annoys me because they took all these amazing character development, and I know they were sort of wasting time to try to catch up with the manga, and the manga wasn't even finished and stuff. But they drew out characters such as Hughes to a point where certain things happen, you're gutted. Then you watch Brotherhood and they just speed right through it. And the music stinks. The music stinks in Brotherhood. The original soundtracks to the original Full Metal are classic. Nobody remembers the original. No one. Absolutely no one except for me. Okay? So yeah, controversial take. Do not like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Do like that they did certain aspects of the story differently than the first one, but the characters weren't nearly as good to me as the original. So there. And the soundtrack. So back to Rurouni Kenshin. The soundtrack to the original Rurouni Kenshin was fantastic. Amazing. I could listen to those tracks all day long. What is this generic something or other that they put in the new one? I can't. The heart and soul of anime, voice acting and music. Stop remaking classics and putting in generic soundtracks. Thank you. As far as recent stuff, I am watching My Hero Academia. I love My Hero Academia. I don't care that there are plenty of people who are like, it stinks. I stopped watching it after season 5. I love My Hero Academia so much. So much. And it stinks that I'm like caught up in real time and haven't read the manga because now I have to go on this gut-wrenching journey and I don't want to do it. But I love it. Okay. One game suspicious that you did not say. What game is it? I already told you what game it is. I'm playing Psychonauts. I'm enjoying it. I do think like there's some things about it that I'm just such an anime person in terms of like I like the anime art style that when I play a Western style game, I have a hard time because I like the watercolory paints and I like the eyes and I like the spiky hair and I got to really adjust to anything Western. So just still the physical design of the characters is hard for me, but the open world is very cool. I really am enjoying the open world concept. I like platformers. That's like one of the only, I like platformers and visual novels. That's the only video games I like. I don't play RPGs. I don't like shooters. They're just not for me. So Psychonauts is a platformer with a visual novel. It's like perfect for me. My favorite game series of all time is Phoenix Wright and Danganronpa and games like that. So the 999 series. Okay, I just went on a crazy tangent here. Interesting thing is that Sumo Primetime has personally interviewed every single Ozeki except Hoshoryu. Maybe Hoshoryu doesn't like interviews. I heard that he's actually quite shy, which wouldn't surprise me. And he's actually like more fun. Like he's this serious dude in the ring, but he's actually really fun and joking with everyone outside of the ring. So he's got a lot of layers to his personality, which I love. Delicious in Dungeon, fantastic show. So I've been so... see Monsters comment. I've been so picky about new animes lately. It just... I don't know. I haven't found a new one that I can get too into. What did I start that I was like, nah. Ah, gee, I can't remember now. I feel like I have to look it up. Let me look it up. I'm not going to look it up for you guys to see, though. Let's see. What is that? I can't even remember. I try a lot of titles, and I can only watch like a couple episodes of I'm like, nah, this isn't for me. Because I'm really about the old school anime. I might go back and watch a whole bunch of old school. I did start Haikyuu. I like Haikyuu, but I'm slow on that, so... But I am going to finish that one. Where is this title? It's a brand new one, and I was kind of interested, and I'm like, no, this isn't working for me. Maybe it's under just updated. Can't find it. Basically, I'll describe it to you. Maybe somebody will know it because maybe somebody's watching it. Hold on a second. Let's see. It's one where like they're all going into this like dungeon together. They're like some sort of hunters or miners or something. And they all have a ranking, and this one C rank guy or D rank guy sneaks in. Everybody gets messed up except for him, and then like the whole premise of the series is you can't rank up, but then he discovers something that talks to him and says you can rank up, and this is how you're going to do it. The problem is, in my older age, I'm really not liking the very violent, gory animes anymore. I like the ones that leave something to the imagination. You give a little bit, but like just buckets of blood, I'm not into it anymore. I'm so over that. Okay, got more comments. I need to complain about something. Shinosuke has to retire next tournament. Apparently, they only do Gyoji promotions after the new year. Are they really going to have no chiefs until the new year? Gee, that seems like a problem. Habab Gab, I see that you said Yu Yu Hakusho, what a fun time. One of the best animes ever made. I heard the new Rurouni Kenshin has disappointed a lot of people. I have heard that as well. I want to ask them what they're disappointed in, but it's just, it's not good. Hating on Bobobo and Brotherhood, I'm sorry, Monster, but I'm like the only person in the world who doesn't like Brotherhood, so I'm just a jerk. Have you watched Hidamaru Sumo? I liked it so much I finished the manga. The love hotel scene went crazy. I started Hidamaru Sumo. I actually watched half of it, I think. And I liked it, but I didn't get into anybody yet. I need to have a character that I'm really, really rooting for. And I liked them, but I didn't like them enough. I got a little like, it's good, but like I need a character that I can really get behind before I can really get into an anime. I grew up with the OG Fullmetal Alchemist, didn't like Brotherhood for the same reasons as you, but I wanted to know the original storyline, so I read the manga. Thank you, Habab Gab. I'm glad I am not the only person, and I'm glad that you understand my reasons. My phone died. What did you say? I don't know. What did I say? I think I just said, yeah, sorry, I don't like Brotherhood. I'm already sweating about the Hoshiryu versus Kotozakura match. I hope I can sleep tonight. I am pumped. I am so pumped for that match. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so Monster's going back to see what I said. Honestly, I agree. Psychonauts kind of ugly. Yeah, it's just not. It's got that Nightmare Before Christmas vibe. Never was into that style. Yes, Habab Gab, it's Solo Leveling. Thank you. I could not think of the title. Yes, Solo Leveling. I want to like Solo Leveling, but it's a little bit too graphic for me. And it's not just the blood. It's like doom and gloom. I think the real world is too doom and gloom. I don't need to see that in my fantasy. I need my fantasy to be a little bit more hopeful. So even if something bad happens, I want to feel like, yeah, but there's that good thing coming. A lot of animes these days are like, no, everything's horrible and everyone's going to die. And you're like, oh, great. I'm done. I'm just done with that. I'm with you, GR Sumo. Just hope the evil nephew drops Koto. I think most of us are rooting for that. I just finished Cavern of Dreams. Loved it so much. Now I gotta go play Banjo-Kazooie to see the inspiration. Maybe I'll buy that overpriced Switch Online thing. I'll have to look into Cavern of Dreams. I tend to be cranky if I don't see any purple tassels in my gyojis. Side note, I think a big Jonokuchi match on day 13 will be Chikuba versus Shimizumi. Go Chikuba. We need to get that Enho playoff. Oh, Enho. Isn't it so wonderful to see him back? It's like super amazing. I love Enho. I really do. And Monster says, I do like that everyone's going to die type shows. Why am I not surprised? Seriously, why am I not surprised that that is your type of show? I think there was a point in my life where that was, and that's gone now. I can't do it anymore. One example of that is X. Now, depending on if you watch X the movie or X the anime, different things happen. Both are good. Both are dark. And different things happen. So, if you've never seen X, there you go. If you don't like dying, in Delicious in Dungeon, the characters literally can't die. Okay, well that sounds good. Can I find this on Crunchyroll, or do I gotta go to Hulu, or do I have to go to some Japanese site? I love to see the samurai sword. Oh, this little icon. I love to see the samurai sword on the side of the top gyoji in the final matches. Yeah, there's something about that that's just like, this is sumo. This is the origin. This is where it came from. Like samurais and, fighters and serious time world issues. Like that tradition part of sumo is why a lot of people watch it. So. I wish I could see Jonokuchi, but there's no way. Cavern of Dreams has my second favorite controls in any 3D platformer, second only to the SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. I'm gonna have to... I just don't know what to say to that, because I never feel like games inspired off of shows are good. So I don't know if that's good or not. Maybe the SpongeBob game is an exception. After Promised Neverland and AOT, I've been off the really graphic anime. What's AOT? Attack on Titan. I was going to say, I know. I watched the first episode of Attack on Titan and I'm like, nope, can't do this. Done already. We haven't had an iconic top gyoji since the guy in the 90s who called all the Akebono and Takanohana matches. We need to focus on the gyoji. I think that's what we're hearing here. As much as I do like this Shinosuke, I can't wait to hear Yodo start yelling the Dohyo Matsuri, the final match of every day. Well, in this time of turmoil and transition, we're going to have to get used to all sorts of new guys. I went back and watched the Terunofuji versus Onosato match, and I haven't seen so many Zabutango flying toward the ring in a long time. I think you just answered the question we asked earlier. I think the Japanese love him. I think in Japan, Onosato was a popular guy. I think they probably brushed the scandal under the side, with the exception of anybody who's a Hakuho loyalist. The whole reason the whole thing came up was because they're like, you punished Hakuho, but you did not punish Onosato. This isn't fair. So those people, Onosato's just... he's not for them. But everybody else who doesn't pay attention to all the drama in the background, I think they love him. Still kind of disappointed that Tamajiro rage quit last year. Been a lot of rage quitting as well. That's sort of the new thing. I still liked Attack on Titan a lot, but honestly, I called The Promised Neverland was going to suck from the beginning. Everyone else just got tricked into watching it, and I didn't. I didn't get tricked into watching it. I'm like, no, I am a picky jerk. If you do not get my attention in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, I'm probably giving up on you, which is not good. But most of the animes that I have watched that I've really liked were good in the first 10 minutes. I'm trying to think if there was ever... an anime where it wasn't good in the first episode and I kept watching. I don't know that there is one. Maybe original Full Metal Alchemist, because what they tried to do was take it out of order, and they put like this weird side story as the first 2 episodes for some reason, and then the show really didn't get good till episode 3 because they did that. So Full Metal Alchemist, the original, is probably the only one that I gave a shot after the first episode not being the best. Promised Neverland Season 1, good season. 2, utter dumpster fire, ruined the show, but the manga is good. I started Hunter x Hunter, and this is another example where I want to like it because it's the creators of Yu Yu Hakusho, but it's not Yu Yu Hakusho, so I'm struggling because the characters are nothing like the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho, and I just immediately loved Yusuke. Immediately. Like, the episode was 5 seconds long. I'm like, and he's the best. And then they bring people in like Hiei, and I'm like, okay, this is like the best show ever. So, you know, I'm trying with Hunter x Hunter. Trying. But many of the new animes, that's it. I was watching another one a long time ago. It's one where like this guy, you guys are going to know, this guy gets transported from, he's like some closet, shut-in guy. In the real world, he gets thrown in. Rise of the Shield Hero. Had some promise, but then all of a sudden it just fell completely off for me. I'm like, you're doing too many bad things to the main character. I don't want to watch the main character like get suffering and tricked and beat up all the time. Like, give me something. Let's see. So you have to get these abilities, but by the end in SpongeBob, you got the DKC roll, Zelda glider, double jump, and Sonic's homing attack. And Spanky doesn't like the anime and video game talk, which is fine, but you got to bring up a topic. You got to bring up a topic for us to talk about sumo because I have nothing left. We are in bonus minutes right now. We are in serious bonus minutes. Because I'm not giving you guys a show tomorrow, I'm letting you go until you have had enough of me. So, Spanky, I have no problem talking about sumo, but please bring up a topic because my brain is fried at this point. Habab Gob. Hunter x Hunter doesn't really pick up until episode 20-ish. The villains are the best characters. The main cast, other than Kita Pika, is lackluster. Alright. I'll give it a shot. Yes, we are in bonus time. I typically, before you guys came to chat with me, and I was just doing this by myself and no one was coming, I would do 20, 30 minutes. Then you guys came and chatted, and I'm like, okay, I can do 45 minutes. Then I had this thought of like, I'm done in an hour. These are only going to be an hour long. And here we are, 1 hour, 23 minutes. We're 23 minutes into bonus time. So this show could end literally any second. If we don't come up with a topic, I'm just going to be like, okay, guys, good night. So just keep that in mind. If you want to talk sumo, bring something up. If you want to talk other stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to go in exactly 1 minute. And there's this convenient timer here in the corner. Yeah. Mitch is desperately trying to find something to keep this stream going. Wait until you get more subs. 2-hour sumo talk show. Topic, oh boy, he has a hard name. Ao Nishiki and the Rise Up the Ranks. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't know much about Ao Nishiki. Can you bring up some information about him? Let's see. I can certainly bring him up on this thing here. Okay, he's the other Ukrainian. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Ao Nishiki. If I had more time to watch all of sumo, I would. I seriously would just sit around and watch sumo for whatever, 5 hours. But I just don't. I barely can make the top division. So where is he? Here he is. Oh, yeah, definitely Ukrainian. You can tell by looking at him. So he's pretty tall and actually fairly thin. He's 4-1 in this basho. Right? Is that what I read? Yep, 4-1 in this basho. He's going to fight Kaisho tomorrow, who's also 4-1. We got Dewa Noryu and Kamito 4-1. Who else we got? I'm assuming these are the Yusho contenders. We got Kusano and Shiyono. Oh, we got a lot of 4-1s. Okay, so it's too early to really say, oh my goodness, we have a Kenshin? That's fantastic. So, Aonishiki, he's got a little ways to go. How old is he? Let's see. 2004. My goodness, I feel so old. So he is 20 years old. He's got the Jonidan title and he has the Jonokuchi title. Definitely gives vibes of greatness when you win multiple titles. And what do we got here? Let's see. So, you know, if he stays in this, could get, if he got a Makushita title, that's going to be fantastic. Mostly a Yurikiri man. Okay, he's a right hand specialist. What's the chat saying? I can't look at this and the chat at the same time. Mushishi Season 2 is like one of my favorite anime, but it's all just tragic parallels to traditional Japanese tales. I'm sure you'd hate that too. I love Mushishi Season 1, so you know nothing about me. Thanks. Maybe I'll try Season 2. Where the deuce is he on this blasted Banzuke? Yeah, it took me a while. Makushita 17, but we found him. Aonishiki's coach is Amanishiki, which I have great respect for him. Isegahama's Oyakata's first Sekitori, like Tamawashi in terms of longevity, but on the belt. Yeah, I got to watch him fight for a little while when I first started watching. Awanishiki has much better fundamentals than Shishi. Should be interesting if he comes up and just zooms on by Shishi. I guess I'll see this guy soon in Juryo. Yeah, I mean, if he wins the title, he's going to zoom right up there. Kaisho, that's a name I haven't heard in a hot minute. Yeah, I heard his name for a while and then, nope. Spanky, you're not old. I have grandchildren his age. Yes, I don't have grandchildren, so sweet. I'm not that old. I still feel old, though. I mean, my goodness, I was not born in the 2000s. Dai Seizon, Inner Mongolia Chinese guy from the Waka Bros stable, punched his ticket to Juryo. Tall, strong dude. Wait, I think we talked about Mushishi before. We did, and you forgot. I've had a lore failure. Yeah, remember you asked me if I like Mushishi, and I said yes, but I did not get to season 2. I will at some point. Let's look at Dai Seizon. Since you said he's going to be going to Juryo. See, I'm giving you guys bonus time. We're looking at people I never look at. You're going to get me all like ready for the next new hotness. Okay, let's see. We got to go to Makushita. Because he's not in Juryo yet, I assume. God, there's so many people. It's like hurting me. Wait, is he in Juryo now? See, while I'm doing this, I can't see the chat, so if I'm doing it wrong. You see, this is why bonus time is tough. I start to not be able to see after a while. I'm desperately looking for this guy. I'm going to go to the chat, see if you guys tell me where he is. Big T Yusho. Hey, Quackadoo. Still, I mean, it's his to lose. Every time I see a Dai Shomoru or a Kotokuzan match, I get nostalgic, even though it was like 2 or 3 years ago they were Sekitori. 2 or 3 years in sumo is like an eternity. It would be funny if you ended up hating season 2 after all. I probably will, just because you and I are on the opposite page about anime in every respect. But hey, maybe not. We should start a sumo show about everything from Makauchi. You should. Kotokuzan might get back into Juryo. I highly suggest that several of the members here start a 42 Opinions Alike podcast where you talk about everything we don't. And then we can compare notes. I need to watch this one match from day 9. On paper, this would be the most incompetent matches in sumo. That stupid icon is in the way. There's like a little icon in the corner, so I can't read his name. Mori. Okay, we'll say Mori versus Sawai Samu. Ooh, there's all these things I can do. Never tried doing that before. Tell us more, Mitch. Why is this an incompetent match? Yeah, it's amazing the lag that you guys are seeing. Like, I stopped scrolling a long time ago, and it's still scrolling on the thing. And now I'm scrolling again to make it even more confusing. I'm going to click on Koto Tebakari just for fun. Just for fun. Everything But Makauchi podcast, sponsored by 42 Opinions Sumo, has a nice ring to it. I love it. Wait a minute, you mean to tell me Jasper might make it back to Juryo? Jasper? Yeah, I would fully support your guys' podcast. I'd be your first subscriber. I would listen all the time, and then I'd be able to say, hey, according to the Everything But Makauchi podcast, this is the next guy to watch. So you guys can do all the work and I'll benefit from it. And there we go. He's 1 win away from being promotable on a 3-3. If Oyama gets to Makushita, does he retire? Becomes a wine guy with his pal Tochinoshin? I don't know. I mean, we thought he'd retire when he went to Juryo, but he really loves sumo and he really doesn't want to leave. So he did get his Japanese citizenship. So I don't know if there's some sort of kabu thing. Obviously, getting the citizenship, he plans to stay in Japan. Hard to say. Definitely hard to say. I mean, if he can still fight, he's going to fight. But obviously, if he's dropping down that hard, I mean, how much fight is left in him? It's kind of fun, though, to watch him fight Shishi because it's like 2 European guys. It's like the old days with Tochinoshin. And now we wait. I see the chat has died down. There's nothing else being said. I say, hey guys, I think it's time to wrap it up. And then either somebody throws something out there or they'll be like, yeah, I'm tired. Goodbye. So I'm going to say it and get thwarted. Thank you all for coming to this live stream. Thank you for coming last night. Once again, as I always say, this is no fun if you guys don't show up. It's just me sitting here talking to myself and looking at a paper and hoping that people watch it after the fact. So I appreciate you all very, very much. You guys are some of the coolest sumo fans on the internet. And hopefully, and I do see your comments, hopefully we get some really awesome ending to this whole July basho. It'd be so great if Teruno Fuji takes it, Kirishima maintains Ozeki, Takakeisho remains Ozeki. I don't think all of those things are possible. I feel like one of those things cannot happen for the others to happen, but maybe not. Maybe not. I see Habab Gab is trying to stall, but I also do see a question. The Guess the Banzuke stream will be the Tuesday before the deadline. So as soon as they announce, like, this is the deadline, which is usually a Monday, the Tuesday prior to that is when we will do the Guess the Banzuke stream. So I don't know. Let's just take a stab in the dark. Let's say it's probably the second Tuesday in August. If the third week is when the Banzuke comes out, maybe it'll be the third week. It's probably the third Tuesday in August is my guess. Tuesdays are a good day for us. We always do it the week before it's actually due. Hi, Daniel. We've been on for a very, very long time. I'm about to end, but I'm glad that you're here. As far as Shirokuma is concerned, I was worried about the injury. Like, he was looking really good. I think it was March. Then he got injured and May wasn't so great. And I thought, oh, great, here we go. But looks like he picked up where he left off. He might win this whole thing, so that could be cool. I love his name. White Bear. That's super cool. I like the name Shirokuma. So I hope he does make top division and is sticking around for a while. So Wasamu versus Moriura, 50 plus years in sumo. Max combined rank of Jonidan 53 and a combination record of, 671 to 1,420. Wow. Good night, Elise. Thank you for coming by again. I still need to study the Banzuke some more. I've been so caught up in all the crazy stuff happening in the U.S. that it's been eating up my time. Oh, just focus on sumo. It just will make you feel a lot better. I'll put it that way. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and life to host us. Good night, all. Thank you, Spakey, for coming by. I only do this for you guys. I seriously mean that. Like, I do it because you guys want to come, hang out, talk to each other, talk to me. I think it's cool. You guys rock. So I'm taking my time out because of you, because you guys are cool. Nakamura's training not helping poor Tomokaze. Tomokaze is so beat up. That's not his fault. I don't know. Maybe just sticking to the turns would be better, though that's how the Banzuke is for me sometimes. And I do see that GR Sumo had something about Hoshoryu. I'm not giving up on Hoshoryu. I hope he wins this whole thing. It seems unlikely, but I hope he does. Good night to you, GR Sumo. I don't know when I'm going to do Banzuke stuff. I have to get ready for my return to TV next month. Well, hopefully you'll be able to join us on Tuesday and tell us how wrong we are. But hey, we got our first Kachikochi ever, and it's because of you guys, so I hope you'll show up. Good night, Habab Gab. You have finally given up on the stall. No sleep, only sumo. That'd be Thursday night when I have to get up and do the Sunday morning sumo show, and I won't be able to sleep because I'll be too nervous about not waking up in time, so I will get 1 hour of sleep again like last time and have to function the entire day. I don't know whether to stay math pilled or go back to pre-math pilling theory. This is a crossroads for you. It really is a crossroads for you. I hope you sit long and hard and think about what's best for your Banzuke. Watch old streams on Twitch to see lower divisions. I heard that the official YouTube channel of Grand Sumo actually might have archives if you join. That's interesting. I might look into that. I might be back in town just in time. I think I would get home the day before the Banzuke show. Well, if you do, that'd be super cool. And we will see you. I hope so. I sincerely hope so. I can just imagine anybody who doesn't know the show, if they like just popped in here 1 hour and 39 minutes in and they're like, what in the world is she talking about? Why do people actually listen to this show? It's stupid. Because at this point, I'm rambling, talking about anything but sumo, tired, can't read. And you guys are just still talking to me. And I'm like, okay, cool. The Banzuke stream will lose something without you, Mitch. That is true. If Monster and Mitch don't show up to, like, harass John and fight with each other in the chat, it does lose a little bit of flavor. You're like the only guy in the chat aside from me that's super serious about it. It's true. Everyone else is like, let's talk about nonsense. And you guys are like, no, we have to get these numbers down. We got to get Maegashira 2 figured out. You will be with us in spirit, Mitch. Well, I hope it'll be more than spirit. I hope to see you actually come. I'll be at the Banzuke show. Love support the Takakeisho and Hoshoryu fans. Yes, we are a place for Takakeisho and Hoshoryu for sure. I find that awesome. I don't have to fight with anybody too much because most people in here, if they aren't a Takakeisho fan, they're cool with them. So maybe I'll phone in. I will make some bad takes in some shape or form. We are sincerely hoping for that. Sincerely. Because it is funny to watch you and Monster get super serious about it. And me and John are like last time I was shopping for sumo gear, John was totally confused. If you could have seen him on camera, like he had his hand in his hair and he's just like, wait, but, and you guys are just throwing stuff at him. It was hilarious. Quick, predict Kimari Te for Koto Sakura versus Hoshoryu. Okay. I'll give the people what they want. Let's see. That's a tough one. The question is, will this be a straight up match or will there be some shenanigans? Yuri Taroshi is very possible. I'm going with Uwatenage. There's going to be a throw. And it might be Hoshoryu. Might be. Do we have a phone a friend option for the Banzuke stream? Of course. Absolutely. Phone all your friends and tell them to get down here and get in the chat for 42 Opinions Banzuke stream because it's the place to be. Okay, so I've called it Uwatenage Hoshoryu on Koto Sakura. He's going to be totally flummoxed. Hoshoryu is going to punch his fist downward, and you're going to see that, like, face, and then he's going to strut away like a peacock. There you go. I have just made all sorts of predictions on a match that I really have no idea what's going to happen in it. But that's my call. Aqua pulled off another Kakenage today. Aqua, the most unlucky man in sumo, gets hit by a car on his bike. Kotonage Koto Sakura wins. It's a solid call. Oh my goodness, people I don't even know are popping in and asking questions. Okay. Baby Boo, nice to see you. Where do you think Terunofuji ranks compared to the other Yokozunas? This is a complicated question in the sense that he physically has not been in the same kind of health as the other Yokozuna. If you take that out, he's... I mean, here's a guy who was Ozeki, dropped all the way to the bottom, comes back and becomes Yokozuna. That does not happen. He's sort of got his own special place in the record books. Would Hakuho have been able to do that? I don't know. So Terunofuji is going to rank decently high, but I don't know if he's a top 10 Yokozuna, just simply because his body is not. I mean, if he gets 10 Yusho, he can be considered in conversations, but I don't think he's a top 10, only because of health, not because of skill or determination. Go Koto, Papa needs that ISP Yusho. So you pick Koto Nawaka? Well, I'm picking Hoshoryu, so it'd be fun to see which one of us wins. I'm trying to get my first Kachi Koshi in Guess the Banzuke. You'll get there. Just come to our stream. It'll help. Guess the Banzuke is like a puzzle, but painful for my brain. I used the quote that somebody absolutely loved. Guess the Banzuke is like a puzzle that sucks. That's just how I feel about it. Because it's very stressful. Aqua actually pulled that off. Are you sure he didn't just faceplant like he usually does? Terror is the greatest comeback story in all of sports. He is definitely, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. To be Ozeki at the top of your game, fall all the way down to the bottom, have serious health problems between cellulitis, diabetes, and the busted knees, to come roaring back, win a bunch of Yusho in a row, take Ozeki, take Yokozuna, and then stay Yokozuna for a couple years when your body is just falling apart. Terunofuji gets his own place. So even if he's not considered one of the top greatest Yokozuna of all time, he's in his own category. He will not be forgotten. And that's why we drink when we do the Banzuke. This is true. What other puzzle would you feel the need to drink while doing? Just guess the Banzuke. It'll be interesting to see how many people actually listen to this entire live stream after the fact. This is why I don't even want to say what I was going to say because I'll get myself in trouble. I remember the "it hurts to urinate" quote from Terror at his lowest. Ooh, that's rough. I mean, he overcame a lot. And he was so good that he comes back and becomes Yokozuna. I mean, could you imagine if he didn't have health problems? I'm very excited to see if the Banzuke ends up being an under demotion or over promotion type Banzuke. Depends a lot on how bad the top division guys do. I think it's going to be under demotion. Calling that already. I'm still not convinced Onosato is the real deal yet, or just hype. Time will tell. Well, Baby Boo, if you had been here earlier, a lot of people in the chat are not Onosato fans. So your opinion fits right in there. We will have to see. Good night. I'll have to get sleep before the big match. Yes, you see, you guys are going to burn out. And then I'm going to be able to stop. One of the most memorable quotes along with Hironomi Sumo and Babe's quote. I think you're referring to the "it hurts to urinate," the drinking words. Well, Terunofuji had quite a drinking thing going on, which was not good for all of his health problems. I'm assuming he quit all of that in his comeback. All right, guys. I really am going now. It's after 11 p.m. where I am. I have to go to sleep. Oh, can you not ask a DBZ question I feel I need to answer? Okay. If Hoshoryu is to be linked to a character in DBZ, who would it be? Who is he most like? He is Vegeta when Vegeta is all good. He doesn't have an evil side, Hoshoryu. He's like reformed Vegeta. The drinking mostly works because we're pretty sure the shrimps are toasted when they draw it up. Baby Boo, Onosato has the physical gifts to become the best, but yeah, he's still quite raw. Let's see if Nishonoseki can develop him. I do believe it's all about the coach. I mean, sure, the wrestler has to do the work, but the coach has to know what to do. Somehow, despite the arguing, this chat has reached unity on Takakeisho and Onosato. I know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful little unity that we have here. You can say whatever you want about Onosato. I may not agree. But as long as you're like not a Takakeisho detractor, we're all good. No, Monster, we need another filibuster topic. No, it's not going to work. No, this time, guys, we're coming on 1 hour and 50 minutes. This has got to be the longest I've ever done. Hoshoryu was like Vegeta when he's trying really hard to be like, I'm totally still evil guy, I swear. Yes! We've got it perfected. That is exactly who Hoshoryu is. Like, no, guys, seriously, I'm still evil. You should be scared of me. And it's like, come on, Vegeta, come on over and have some food with us. We're going to go train. All right, fine. Have we reached unity on the general hatred for Tobizaru? Absolutely not. I love Tobizaru, and I love when Tobizaru does things that make you upset. When asked about his relationship with his brother, Tobizaru Hidenomi said, I'm not at all that into people right now. My focus is on sumo and babes. Yeah, I bet, considering he was Mr. Gambler. That's... Wow. Maybe that's why Tobizaro is the way he is. For his own brother to say that. That's rough. I'm not all that into people. I'm not into my brother. My brother stinks. I was going to say Mitch. Damn. Still hate that guy. Is Onosato Broly? Yeah, Onosato's Broly. 100%. 100%. I can get behind that comparison. Who's the Goku of sumo? Mitch, how did it feel to see Tobizaro win with a Yurikiri? I still forget that those two are related. Who is the Goku of sumo? I don't know if there is one. I really don't know if there is a Goku of sumo. You have to have just this pure heart and love of fighting without any sort of vitriol. Like Hakuho kind of has it, but then he has that edge to him that he can't be Goku. Well, remember that time they both had to pull out because of diarrhea? Gotta love Hinomi for that. They also ate some bad food together. Oh, jeez. This conversation is devolving. We don't have a Goku right now. That's true. Goku would probably be the Yokozuna. And Vegeta would probably be the Ozeki. So Hoshiryu is the perfect person to be Vegeta. And we need a new Goku. Atami Fuji is Gohan. Yes, Atami Fuji is Gohan. Ura can't be Goku because Ura is Majin Buu. Good Majin Buu. He wears the pink Moashi. He's jolly. He dances around. Can beat you up when you least expect it. And you can throw him and send him flying anywhere. And he rolls in all these crazy directions. And he gets right back up and he is unharmed. I can only see Ura as Majin Buu. I didn't mean the diarrhea. Okay. Yeah, that's so funny that Atami Fuji is Gohan. That's still one of the better reasons to go Kyujo. I would still wear Ryuden Moashi and just show up anyhow. Just don't. Oh, I don't even want to finish reading that. That's so gross. How are we still going and why am I still watching? Great question. Haha, good. Boo is perfect. You'll never see Ura the same way again when you think about him as Majin Buu because he literally is Majin Buu. Good Buu, though. After, the world is saved and Buu goes back and living with Bulma, that Majin Buu. Okay. It can't keep going. I'm going to have to hit end stream because you guys will just keep typing. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the Basho. I hope we have something super awesome. John and I will record the recap show and you'll find me typing in the comments section on Monday afternoon. So have a great weekend. Great sumo. Awesomeness. Oh, jeez. I'm not going to address the diarrhea stuff. Aqua is Mr. Satan. I can fall for that. And which wrestler is Cell? Whoever says, I'm perfect. Good night.